You spend your entire life trying to be liked by people you wouldn't even ask for directions. Think about the exhaustion. You replay conversations in your head before you sleep. You edit your thoughts before you speak. You stay quiet when you should stand firm, all because you are terrified of an invisible verdict. What will they think of me? 2,000 years ago, Seneca, one of the wealthiest and most powerful philosophers in Rome, watched senators, emperors, and citizens destroy their own sanity for the exact same illusion. He wrote a diagnosis so brutal it cuts right through the modern noise. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Here is the raw truth. Every single time you shape your life around someone else's approval, you hand a stranger the remote control to your nervous system. Seneca refused to live as a slave to opinions. He discovered that stopping yourself from caring about what people think is not about becoming cold or cruel. It is about claiming absolute ownership of your own soul. In this video, we break down Seneca's 7 brutal truths to permanently detach your self-worth from the opinions of others and build an unshakable mind.
Truth number 1. You are seeking validation from people who don't even like themselves. Look closely at the person whose judgment makes your stomach twist. Observe how they live. Are they masters of their own emotions? Are they at peace with who they are? Most of the time, the people whose opinions you fear are secretly drowning in insecurity, jealousy, and self-doubt. Seneca asked a devastating question. Would you take advice on navigation from a captain who has shipwrecked every vessel he ever commanded? Then why do you value the judgment of someone who has not figured out how to steer their own life? When an insecure person criticizes you, they are rarely talking about you. They are projecting their own internal chaos onto your actions. Stop asking prisoners how to be free. The moment you realize their criticism is just their own pain speaking, their power over you completely vanishes.
Truth number 2. The praise you sacrifice your peace for will be forgotten by tomorrow afternoon. You exhaust yourself trying to impress your social circle, your boss, or strangers on the internet. You trade your authentic truth for a polite nod or a brief moment of applause. Seneca watched crowds cheer wildly for gladiators in the Colosseum, only to turn around and forget their names the second they walked out the gates. He warned, "What difference does it make how many people praise you if you cannot praise yourself?" Public opinion is like the weather in spring. It shifts with the wind, with no loyalty, no memory, and no substance. If you live for their cheers, you will die by their silence. Base your dignity on your own character, because public applause is the cheapest currency on earth.
Truth number 3. Explaining yourself to everyone is a confession that they own you. When someone misjudges you or spreads an unfair assumption, your immediate instinct is to defend yourself. You write long explanations, you argue, you try to convince them they are wrong. Seneca considered this a catastrophic waste of mental energy. He wrote, "A great mind becomes truly great when it treats insults as beneath its notice." When you scramble to explain your intentions to someone who is determined to misunderstand you, you elevate their opinion above your own reality. You give them a courtroom where they sit as the judge and you stand as the accused. Close the courtroom. You do not owe an explanation of your path to people who have no intention of walking with you. Let them misunderstand you. Your character will speak so loudly over time that their words will look ridiculous on their own.
Truth number 4. The most powerful reaction to disrespect is no reaction at all. When someone throws an insult or a passive-aggressive jab at you, they are not looking for a discussion. They are fishing for an emotional reaction. They want to see your pulse spike. They want to see you flustered, angry, or defensive, because if they can provoke you, they control you. Seneca's rule for handling hostility was simple. Delay is the greatest remedy for anger. When confronted with disrespect, do not lash out. Do not raise your voice. Look directly at the person, pause, and say nothing. A deliberate, unbothered silence forces the other person to sit in the awkward vacuum of their own ugliness. It signals complete indifference. It shows that their words did not even have enough weight to penetrate your surface.
Truth number 5. No external event has the power to demean you unless you agree to it. Think about what humiliation actually is. It is not an object that someone throws at you. It is a thought that you generate inside your own skull. Someone speaks words into the air. Those sound vibrations travel through the room. That is all that physically happens. The pain only begins when you tell yourself, I have been insulted. I look foolish. I am lesser. Seneca observed, it is not the man who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your judgment that these things are insulting. If a child throws a pebble at a castle wall, the stone bounces off and falls into the dirt. The castle remains unmoved. Build your mind like that stone wall. When people launch judgment at you, refuse to give it permission to enter your interior.
Truth number 6. In 100 years, both you and the person judging you will be dust in the ground. Whenever you feel social anxiety creeping in, zoom out to the cosmic timeline. Seneca meditated constantly on mortality. You are afraid of dying, and tell me, is the kind of life you lead any different from being dead? Imagine shrinking your one brief, precious existence to fit into the arbitrary expectations of coworkers, acquaintances, and family members who will soon be forgotten by history. Every moment spent worrying about their gossip is a moment stolen from your real life. When you look at your life through the lens of your final breath, the awkward moments, the gossip, and the opinions of others shrink into complete insignificance. Live for what is real. Live for what endures.
Truth number 7. The only opinion that will ever determine your destiny is the one you hold of yourself. At the end of the day, when the lights are off and the noise of the world fades away, you have to live with the person staring back at you in the mirror. If you win the applause of the entire world but despise your own cowardice, you are a failure. If the entire world condemns you while your conscience knows you acted with virtue, honor, and courage, you are invincible. Seneca left us this definitive command: regard yourself as someone whose approval is worth winning. When your own self-respect becomes non-negotiable, you stop looking around the room to see who is watching.
Tomorrow morning, the world will test you again. Someone will criticize your choices. Someone will roll their eyes. Someone will misunderstand your silence. When that moment comes, remember Seneca. Breathe. Do not explain. Do not react. Protect your inner fortress. Your peace is too expensive to buy the cheap opinions of strangers. Stand firm. Be sovereign. Be stoic.